Hi. Hi, guys. Good evening. My name is Michael Monasterio, and I am one of the intern ministers at the Unity of the Palm Beaches under the mentorship of Taylor Stevens. The name of this sermon is Stairway to Heaven. Co create your stairway to heaven. So, um, if you're a child of the 70s, like I was, Led Zeppelin was a popular band from England, and they had an anthem, a big anthem, Stairway to Heaven. High school parties I ever went to played it at least once. Um, so everybody was familiar with the lyrics. I don't know if you are, but this lady I know, all that glitters not gold, and she's buying the Stairway to Heaven. She's buying the Stairway to Heaven is the hook. Um, so I always do my sermons in 5 points after the unity principles. So God is, I am, I pray. God is, I am, I think, I pray, I live. Manifest, co create, intention, do something, and co create your stairway to heaven. Now, it's Saturday morning, and you just wake up, you're in a great mood, the weather's perfect, and you get an inspiration, and it says, hey, I want to make the perfect red velvet cake. Perhaps you've been watching a lot of English baking shows like my wife does before she goes to bed. So this inspiration probably isn't that strange. It didn't come out of nowhere. However, the belief that you are going to create the perfect red velvet cake, you see it, you feel it, you taste it. So you go to Publix and get all the ingredients. You get the perfect recipe, and you follow it scientifically. And while your cake is baking, you're calling your family, your sister, your brothers, your anyone, your aunt, anybody. Hey, I'm making this great perfect velvet cake. You should come over for coffee, or maybe I'll come to your house because it's going to be so good. It's going to be an event. And then your neighbors, you see them as you're walking your dog. Oh, I'm working on this red velvet cake. You really want to get a piece of this? I might just send it over to you, And you just built this hype around this cake. So you have the cake in the oven. The timer goes off. You take your red velvet cake out of the oven, and you realize that you absolutely have no talent for baking. The color's wrong, size is wrong, it's a little wobbly, it's not. It is just like they would have laughed you off the set if you were on the set of an English baking show for this cake. So you're about to throw it away, and suddenly something comes to you and says, I need to taste this thing before I throw it away. So you take a slice of this cake on your fork and you eat it, and you realize, wow, this is the best red velvet cake I have ever made in my life. It's nuanced. There's different flavors. It's moist. There's a reason why you did that, and that's actually part of the theme of this sermon. So it's very trendy to talk about manifestation. In fact, there was a book called The Secret where you can manifest anything. In fact, you might have manifest things in your life, right? Like if you've been to Vegas, come on seven, or maybe some partner you wanted to meet, and you said, I'm going to marry that woman, or I'm going to marry that guy, whatever. You actually manifest these things and didn't know that's what you called it, because you changed reality around your desire and got the thing that you wanted. Um, I don't know how you feel about Donald Trump, but he really, to me, is one of the greatest manifestors of the 20th century. I've never seen anybody who he just says some things, and whether they're real now or not, they become real. Whatever he says becomes truth. I mean, it boggles my mind, but at the same time, I'm in awe. It really is a masterclass on manifestation, where the desire and the desire, the intention, and the focus is so laser focused. reality moves around you. The downside to manifestation is, you know, most people that win the lottery have a worse off after, right? Charles Fillmore says, "Don't worship the thing that you are manifesting if it becomes your god." Jimi Hendrix or any of these people who manifest these fantastic international careers, we still talk about them. That's how big they were. And then um, it ruins their lives. So these things that they manifest, not necessarily manifestation is just getting it. There was a song by Neil Diamond, who I love. Neil Diamond, he's a great lyricist, and it says, "You ever hear the one about the frog that wanted to be king and then became one? Well, except for the name and some of the changes, my story is the same one." And then the story goes on how lonely this guy is, how he was the king of pop of his era, right? And he was lonely, and he talks about he couldn't find a home, and he spent all these evenings, isolated because of his career. I mean, manifestation has to be um, has to be developed with the other steps that I'm going to talk about. So then there's co-creation. Now, co-creation mm, comes from your God center because you co-create your reality, ideally with the God within you. So the things that you see you be around your world, some people say everything is sort of your creation because you're looking at it. I think I'm always on the 90-10%. Like 10% is just stuff that happens to us through our journey. Um, Traffic, you know, taxes, cancer. There's things that happen to us that, or other people, what they want to do. There's things that happen to us that we don't actually, that we didn't manifest. But it's sort of, to me, things being human, the human condition, aging, the human condition. That's part of being here. That's part of our spiritual journey, our spiritual evolution. Um, but at its core, to co-create is sort of like children, like your children. You I mean you gave birth to them, but the time you put in after, it's said that everything worthwhile requires time, money, and stress. Everything you love requires those three things: time, money, and stress. And the Bible says, "Where your treasure, so goes your heart." Another big thing, right? Where your money is. Well, what you spend money on is what you love. The difference between manifestation and co-creation is love something that's going to love you back. Love something that has a return on it. Like if you have pets, you love them and care for them, and they love you back, right? Or a partner, or a friend, or your church people you go to church with. I can go on and on. The return, the emotional return for those things. So you put your time, your money, your stress into your children to make them responsible, healthy, well balanced adults, right? Good people. You want your children to be good people, and you have a sense of responsibility when it comes to co-creation, because if you put your heart in it, you have. It's like you can't give it up so easily. In my own life, in my 20s, I went off the rails, right? I mean, I had a lot of issues as I was growing up that I didn't deal with. And so the way for me when I got some freedom was to kind of go crazy, and I did. I spent a lot of money chasing a lot of stuff that wasn't good for me, and I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of relationships. I lost a lot of things. Great jobs. I lost all this stuff, and my parents, who had put so much time, money, and stress to me since I was a baby, they never let me go. That's like the cake, right? They couldn't just throw me away. Like a lot of people, like, oh, you've disgraced us, and they get rid of me. My parents never did. They were angry at me, and we had words. So that's the point. A co-creation has responsibility. They say God created us, right? And so the relationship we have, the bond we have, is unbreakable. A bond that has a commitment involved. it has a sense of trust involved. It has a sense of stability that's beyond reason even, right? Um, my wife and I have we made a covenant with God. I followed it was in one of the Charles Fillmore books, and as a couple, we gave ourselves to the service of mankind in our ministry, and and in return, God takes care of us as a couple, takes care of our needs, and 100%. Like we never worry about money anymore. We never worry about our health anymore. We never worry about a lot of things. We say, listen, we're gonna do we're gonna take care of our side what we can, and God's gonna take care of His side, the rest. Um, and it's been wonderful. I mean, since we started this thing, I can go on and on about all the great things that have happened to us, but to actually say that, right? It's like we co-created a covenant, a contract, let's say, with the Creator that's within us, and so we'll lead our lives in our ministry God centered. Um, so now we know what co-creation is, but let's say what empowers it, what gives it its punch, right? So to me, intention is a word that's used. It means whatever your motives are, right? What your desires are, your intentions. But in a metaphysical sense, it actually has power because your intentions, where where you're leading, or where you're leading your God center, either your God center or your flesh center, right? Is what your intention is, and an intention to me is it's like a loaded gun. A loaded gun has so much potential power in it. It can win wars, right? It could find you food if you're in the woods by yourself. It can defend you. It can murder people, right? The 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 power is only directed by your intention. So if you have a God-centered intention, that kind of power, that of a bullet explosion, the explosive power, can be sent anywhere you want because we have that free will, because heaven and earth is a choice, because God is a choice, because everything we do is a choice. So how we see the world is a choice, right? If you listen to me or cut me or turn me off right now, it's all choices. Now, if if you're if you're co-creating and your intention is for good, if your intention is for the sake of mankind, if your intention is to make this a better world, then the power that you're releasing does just that. It raises the vibration of the entire planet Earth. And that's what we do. When you pray for things like that, God intention, the entire climate of the planet changes. Everything changes. So now we got three of the steps. The fourth is, which is huge. Do something. Yes, you see, I'm actually sitting on the couch. I must get off the couch. If I'm going to do any of these things, I can make a covenant, I can make a proclamation, I can think all these wonderful thoughts. But if I do not get up and go do these things, if I'm not proactive, if I don't lead God and a God inspired action, nothing will happen. You sitting home, manifesting these things, co creating this whole world, the cake won't make itself. So before I do something very important, I center myself, I get quiet, and then I ask for that direction. I'm going to do this move. Is this the right thing to do? And then once I get the okay, once I feel yes, this is right, and then I go ahead. And since I have been doing that, my life has been amazing, and the choices I've made get better and better. Because once I know that's the way to do it, then before I make any decision, any big choices, I used to be a hothead, but to stop and find a way through a situation. There was a situation on my job. We had this really angry guy, a nice guy, but he had anger issues. And so he wanted to fight with everybody, you know. And one day he wanted to fight with me. I was the guy. And I really, at the point, was just asking him to help me do something that he didn't want to do. And so it got to the point it was just heated. And before I reacted to him, because he said some things to me that it would have been a different situation years ago, I quieted myself and I turned it around and I turned it into a loving act. I led with love. And it turned him around and it changed him. Even after that, it just changed him. And he always looked at me or came to me when he was in that space. And I could always talk him down. That's what I'm talking about. God inspired action. Now, okay, so we did all these things, right? We did a manifestation, we did co-creation, we did intention, we did do something. Now, here we are at the stairway to heaven, right? We co-created your stairway to heaven. So there was a explorer called Ponce de Leon. Do you remember him? He was the guy that was looking for the fountain of youth, and he went with army and then troops, and then he came at this thing for you. He settled Florida, right? He went through Florida. He discovered all these places and came for Europe, and but he was looking for the fountain of youth, so that didn't matter to him. So he killed a lot of people, and he did a lot of terrible things in this quest. But at its essence, till the day he died, that drive for that thing that he wanted inspired him so much. He found the fountain of youth in his desire for his goal, for his interpretation of heaven. That's what led him and drove him. Charles Fillmore used to say, "Oh, I'm not. You have no reason to die. I'm not going to die," and he'd go on. And of course, he died and died at an old age. And people used to say how alive he was every day until the day he died. In fact, I'm quoting him. So in a sense, he didn't really die. Do you know this physical meat suit, this carbon costume, I call it, that we go through, that we evolve out of, right? Okay, it's done. We used it up, and then to me, how I feel is then we get another one, and hopefully during the process our spiritual journey has developed, and we have developed as beings so that we go to the next stage until then. So in a sense, this whole thing I've been talking about, this stairway to heaven, interestingly enough, it doesn't say doorway to heaven, right? Or it doesn't say curtain to heaven where you open the curtain and there they are, the heaven and the angels, and all that stuff. No, it doesn't say that at all. It's actually a stairway. It's a stairway. It's a effortful process to reach heaven. That, in a sense, heaven is in the climb. The heaven you seek is in each step. It's in each relationship. It's in each act. It's in each growth process. The steps, each steps you take. The joy is in the journey. It's not in the destination, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's just like the Wizard of Oz. You've always been home. You've always just click your heels. You have always been in heaven. Heaven is always within you. But the longing for heaven that drives you to these good acts, that drives you to this wonderful state of consciousness, that is the joy. The joy is in the climb. So you just got the stairway to heaven, in my opinion. And I just delivered a sermon on my couch at 10 o'clock at night. I love you guys. This is the truth, and the truth shall make you free. For this reason I was born, and for this purpose I came. I hope it was enlightening or at least interesting. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.